Have you ever felt the sting of betrayal? That moment when someone you trusted, someone you cared about, someone you believed in, let you down in the most painful way possible. It's a wound that cuts deep, a scar that stays with you long after the initial hurt. I want to remind you of one thing today, my friends. The truth always comes to light. It doesn't matter how long someone thinks they can hide their lies, or how well they think they can cover up the hurt they've caused. In time, the truth has a way of revealing itself. And when it does, they'll realize the cost. The cost of losing trust, of losing respect, of losing everything they once held dear. But here's the thing, and I want you to really hear me when I say this: your strength to overcome will shine brighter than their betrayal ever could. You will rise. You will rebuild. You will heal. And one day you'll look back and realize that the betrayal didn't break you, it made you stronger. And for those who betrayed you, well, they will have to live with the consequences of their choices. Because in the end, we are all responsible for the energy we put into this world. They may think they've won, but let me tell you this: the victory belongs to the ones who stand tall, the ones who rise above the hurt, and the ones who find healing in the wake of betrayal. So let it be known their betrayal will cost them. And your journey, it's just beginning. Betrayal is one of the most painful and complex emotions we can experience in life. It's not just about someone breaking the promise or lying to us. It's the deep sense of being let down by someone we trusted, someone we allowed into our lives with open arms, someone who we thought had our best interests at heart. It's the violation of that sacred bond of trust, the foundation upon which all relationships, whether with family, friends, or colleagues, are built. When betrayal happens, it's as though the very core of what we believed in is shaken. The pain of betrayal goes beyond the immediate wound. It's the emotional aftershocks that linger long after the betrayal itself has occurred. It makes us question our judgment, our intuition, and the very nature of the relationship we had with that person. In those moments, we often wonder, how could they have done this to me? How could someone I trusted betray me so deeply? What did I miss? The answers are often elusive, but the hurt is undeniable. What makes betrayal even more difficult is its ability to break down the boundaries of our emotional security. It doesn't just sting, it causes us to doubt not only the person who betrayed us, but everyone around us. It changes the way we see the world and the people in it. In an instant, we lose faith in something we once held dear. Trust, which is often earned over years, can be destroyed in a single moment of disloyalty, and rebuilding that trust feels like an insurmountable task. Yet, despite the pain, betrayal teaches us something important. It reveals the fragility of human connection and how easily it can be altered. In some ways, it forces us to reassess the people we allow into our lives, our boundaries, and the depth of the trust we offer. But more than anything, betrayal challenges us to find strength in the aftermath. It may feel like everything has crumbled, but what's left is an opportunity to rebuild not just trust, but also our sense of self. The impact of betrayal stretches far beyond the immediate pain it causes. While the initial shock may feel like a direct attack, the deeper consequences ripple out in ways we often don't anticipate. The most obvious effect is emotional. The feeling of being deceived or abandoned by someone we loved or relied on can leave us with a profound sense of loss. It's not just the loss of the relationship, but the loss of our own belief in the reliability of others. In that moment of betrayal, we not only experience hurt, but also confusion, anger, and sometimes shame. The feelings can be so intense that they affect our overall well-being, leaving us emotionally drained and unable to function at our full potential. Beyond the emotional toll, betrayal can have a lasting impact on our mental health. It can erode our sense of security and safety, making it difficult to trust others in the future. This lack of trust doesn't just apply to the person who has betrayed us, but can extend to others, even those who have shown us nothing but kindness and loyalty. Our minds can become preoccupied with the act of betrayal itself, replaying events and words over and over again, questioning where things went wrong or what signs we might have missed. This constant mental replay can contribute to feelings of anxiety, depression, and even self-doubt. Betrayal also has a way of distorting our perception of reality. It can lead us to question everything we thought we knew about the relationship and about ourselves. We might begin to doubt our judgment and second-guess our instincts. How could I have been so blind, we ask ourselves. The pain of betrayal can even lead us to isolate ourselves from others, not because we no longer trust the world, but because we no longer trust our own ability to see things clearly. And so what begins as a personal injury turns into a larger, more pervasive sense of uncertainty and emotional exhaustion. But betrayal doesn't just take an emotional and mental toll. It can alter the way we interact with the world. It makes us more guarded, more cautious in how we build new relationships, where once we may have opened ourselves freely to others, we now erect walls, unsure who we can trust. Those walls, while they may protect us from further hurt, also keep us from experiencing the full depth of connection and intimacy that we deserve. What once felt like a safe and supportive network of people can suddenly seem like a minefield, where anyone could be a threat to our sense of peace and trust. Moreover, the consequences of betrayal aren't always confined to our personal lives. They can spill over into our professional lives, creating a sense of instability in the workplace or in business partnerships. Trust is the cornerstone of every effective team, and when that trust is broken, it can lead to tension, disarray, and even a breakdown in collaboration. A single betrayal at work can ripple out to affect productivity, morale, and relationships with colleagues, leaving a trail of damage that can be difficult to repair. In the wake of betrayal, there is also the loss of something much more intangible, our sense of self. Betrayal often forces us to confront a painful truth about ourselves, that we may have been naive or too trusting, or that we allowed ourselves to become too vulnerable. This can be an identity-shaking realization, one that may make us question our own worth and value. We might wonder if we deserve the betrayal or if we somehow failed to protect ourselves. The loss of self-esteem and self-trust is a deep and often invisible scar that can take years to heal. Ultimately, the impact of betrayal is a complex web of emotional, mental, and relational damage that extends far beyond the moment of betrayal itself. Its effects linger in the background, shaping our future decisions and interactions. It forces us to rethink who we are, who we allow into our lives, and how we protect ourselves emotionally. The road to healing from betrayal is long, but the most important thing to remember is that while betrayal can change us, it doesn't have to define us. The impact is undeniable, but it's also something we can learn to move beyond. The hidden cost of betrayal is something that often lingers long after the initial shock has passed, and it's a cost that can be far greater than we anticipate. While the most immediate effects of betrayal, hurt, confusion, anger, are noticeable and tangible, the deeper, more subtle costs are not as easily seen, yet they can have a profound and lasting impact on our lives. These hidden costs often affect us in ways we don't even recognize until much later, sometimes manifesting as emotional scars that go unnoticed for years. One of the most significant hidden costs is the erosion of self-trust. When someone betrays us, it doesn't just shake our belief in them, but it forces us to question our own judgment and instincts. We wonder how we could have been so wrong, how we missed the signs, how we failed to protect ourselves. This self-doubt can quietly fester in the background, undermining our confidence and making us hesitant to trust our own decisions in the future. It's an invisible wound, one that may not be immediately obvious to those around us, but it can affect every decision we make moving forward, especially in relationships. Over time, we may become increasingly guarded, unsure of who we can truly trust, and unsure of whether we can ever fully open up to others again. Alongside this internal struggle, betrayal also takes a toll on our emotional and psychological well-being in ways that can be difficult to articulate. While the immediate feelings of anger or heartbreak may fade with time, there can be a lingering sense of vulnerability that remains. Betrayal makes us feel exposed, as though the person we trusted has not only violated our relationship, but has also shown us how fragile our sense of security really is. This feeling of being emotionally exposed can make us more sensitive to future disappointments, even those that are not rooted in betrayal, leading us to react more strongly to situations that feel threatening or unsafe. This heightened emotional sensitivity can cause us to second-guess our interactions with others, wondering if every seemingly small offense could be the start of another betrayal. The hidden costs of betrayal also extend to our relationships with others. When we've been betrayed by one person, it can be hard not to project that pain onto those around us. Even the most well-meaning friends or loved ones can become collateral damage as we become more cautious and less trusting. We may start to withdraw emotionally, hesitant to get too close to anyone for fear of experiencing the same kind of hurt again. This can create a distance between us and those who genuinely care about us, leading to a sense of isolation that over time becomes more entrenched. The more we guard ourselves, the less we allow ourselves to experience the full range of human connection, both the joys and the vulnerabilities that come with it. Perhaps one of the most insidious hidden costs of betrayal is the effect it has on our ability to forgive, not just the person who betrayed us, but even ourselves. We can find ourselves trapped in a cycle of hurt and resentment, unwilling to let go of the past and move forward. Holding on to the pain of betrayal might feel like a way of protecting ourselves, but it also prevents us from healing. The longer we carry that weight, the more it takes away from our energy, our focus, and our capacity to love freely again. In some cases, this bitterness can affect our ability to find peace, as we remain stuck in a cycle of anger and distrust that keeps us from experiencing the joy and freedom we deserve. Another hidden cost is the way betrayal impacts our overall sense of safety in the world. When someone we trust betrays us, it forces us to reevaluate our view of human nature. We begin to wonder, are people who we think we can trust really trustworthy? Are we vulnerable to being hurt again? This questioning can lead to a generalized fear, a sense that the world is not as secure as we once thought. This sense of insecurity can affect how we approach new relationships or even opportunities. We might hold back, afraid to make ourselves vulnerable again. We might become hypervigilant, constantly on guard for any signs that we're about to be hurt again, rather than allowing ourselves to embrace life with the openness we once had. The impact of betrayal is not always confined to the emotional and psychological realms. There are physical manifestations of this hidden cost as well. Stress, anxiety, and the emotional toll of betrayal can manifest in physical ways, whether through chronic headaches, sleep disturbances, or a weakened immune system. The stress that comes from the lingering effects of betrayal can take a toll on our health, causing us to feel constantly drained, both mentally and physically. This can lead to a cycle where we find it harder to recover from the emotional wounds because our bodies are exhausted from carrying the weight of the pain. Ultimately, the hidden cost of betrayal is a quiet, insidious force that affects every part of our being, our emotional health, our mental clarity, our relationships, and even our physical well-being. It's the kind of cost that doesn't make itself fully known until we're deep into our healing journey. It takes time to recognize these effects and to process them, but acknowledging them is the first step toward reclaiming our power. Because while betrayal may take so much from us, it is within our power to heal, rebuild, and restore our sense of self, one step at a time. Trust is the foundation upon which all meaningful relationships are built. It is the unspoken bond that ties people together, the belief that we can rely on someone to be there for us, to act in our best interests, and to honor the connection we share. When trust is present, there is a sense of security, a mutual understanding that we can be vulnerable with one another, share our thoughts and feelings without fear of judgment, and that our emotions will be respected. But when that trust is shattered, it feels as though the very bedrock of the relationship crumbles beneath us, leaving us unsure of what to hold on to. The process of trust being shattered is rarely abrupt. It often occurs over time through small betrayals or actions that slowly erode the faith we have in someone. One lie can lead to another, one broken promise followed by another, until the cumulative weight of these betrayals has completely undermined what once seemed solid. In that moment when the truth is revealed, the betrayal can feel like a bomb going off, shattering everything we believed about the person we trusted. It's not just the action itself that breaks trust, but the realization that someone we cared about could behave in a way that was entirely contrary to our expectations of them. It's the feeling that they've chosen to disregard the value of the relationship for their own benefit. and that thought can be deeply painful to process. What makes the shattering of trust so devastating is the emotional disillusionment that follows. We start questioning everything we thought we knew. How could we have been so blind? How did we not see the signs? It's easy to begin blaming ourselves, to wonder if we missed clues that could have warned us. We become lost in the maze of self-doubt, unsure of how to navigate the emotional wreckage of a relationship that we thought was secure. The sense of betrayal isn't just about what the other person did. It's also about the way we feel about our own judgment, our own ability to read people, to know when we are safe and when we are at risk. In many ways, when trust is shattered, it doesn't just break the connection with the person who betrayed us, it breaks something within ourselves. We wonder whether we will ever be able to trust again, not just others, but our own instincts. Once trust is shattered, rebuilding it feels almost impossible. Trust, once broken, cannot be easily repaired. It's a delicate, fragile thing that takes years to build, but only moments to destroy. The emotional wounds that come with betrayal are deep, and each one leaves behind a scar that serves as a reminder of the hurt. Even when apologies are offered or attempts at reconciliation are made, they can feel hollow, as though they are not enough to erase the damage that has been done. Words, no matter how sincere, seem inadequate when they stand against the weight of the broken trust. Actions are what matter now, but those actions must be consistent, patient, and time-tested, things that are difficult to offer in the immediate aftermath of betrayal. This is where the long-term impact of shattered trust is most apparent. It alters not only the dynamic between two people, but the way we approach all of our relationships moving forward. The hurt and disappointment we experience from one betrayal can leave us wary of others. Even those who have shown us nothing but loyalty can become the targets of our suspicions. We begin to question motives, wondering if people have hidden agendas or if they too will one day betray us. This general mistrust can make it difficult to form new connections, to build meaningful relationships with others. We hold back, afraid of being hurt again, and in doing so, we limit our ability to experience the full depth of human connection. Trust, once shattered, does not just affect the person who betrayed us, it affects every relationship we have after that. It spreads like a shadow, influencing the way we engage with others and often making us feel isolated. It can even affect the way we trust ourselves, leading to self-doubt and a lack of confidence in our ability to make decisions or judge character. It's as if the act of betrayal has cast a long shadow, and no matter where we go or who we meet, we are haunted by the fear that the same thing could happen again. The truth has a remarkable way of finding its way to the surface, no matter how deeply it is buried or how much effort is put into concealing it. There is a universal law, an undeniable force that eventually exposes the truth, whether in personal relationships, professional settings, or even in the broader scope of society. At first, the truth may be hidden behind lies, manipulations, or deceitful actions, but over time, the weight of those falsehoods becomes too much to bear. And the truth emerges, often in ways we least expect. The truth does not just surface on its own, it often has a way of finding its path through those who cannot live with the weight of the lie any longer. Sometimes it is the guilty party who, after much internal struggle, decides to come forward and confess, unable to carry the burden any longer. Other times, it is the people around them who start to notice the inconsistencies or uncover the hidden facts. It may come out through a slip of the tongue, an unexpected piece of evidence, or simply through the persistence of those seeking answers. There is always someone somewhere who is determined to uncover the truth, no matter how elusive it may seem. One of the most powerful aspects of truth is its ultimate liberation. In relationships, when the truth comes to light, it creates a foundation upon which real healing can occur. There is no longer the need to live in the shadow of secrecy and mistrust. There is the possibility of reconciliation, of rebuilding a relationship based on honesty and openness, even if it is a slow and painful process. In a larger societal context, the exposure of truth can lead to societal change, whether it's uncovering corruption, injustice, or systemic wrongdoing. The truth, when it is allowed to shine, has the potential to dismantle the false structures that have allowed lies to persist, creating space for fairness and equality. Ultimately, the truth will always find its way into the light. It may be delayed, hidden, or distorted for a time, but it cannot be contained forever. Whether in personal relationships, the professional world, or the broader social fabric, truth has a resilience that lies cannot match. It may take months or even years for the truth to emerge, but when it does, it clears away the fog of deception, allowing everyone to see things as they truly are. The painful reality is that even though the truth can be difficult to face, it is always the best path forward, because it allows for the restoration of trust, the healing of wounds, and the opportunity for growth and transformation. Karma is a concept that transcends many cultures, spiritual beliefs, and philosophies, often described as the principle of cause and effect, where the actions we take, whether good or bad, come back to us in some form. It's the idea that every action, every thought, every word carries weight and has consequences, not only in the immediate moment, but across time. The law of karma suggests that we are constantly shaping our futures by the choices we make today, creating a ripple effect that extends beyond our own lives. Whether we see it as divine justice, natural consequence, or simple morality, karma teaches us that nothing happens in isolation. Our actions affect others, and those effects come back to us, sometimes when we least expect it. One of the more subtle ways karma operates is through the emotional consequences of our actions. When we wrong others, when we hurt people, or when we act in selfishness, there is often a part of us that knows the harm we have caused, even if it's not immediately visible. These internal consequences may manifest as guilt, regret, or a deep sense of emptiness that cannot be filled by external achievements or possessions. Sometimes the consequences of karma are emotional rather than physical, and those feelings can shape the way we interact with the world and the people around us. A person who has caused harm to others may find themselves trapped in a cycle of isolation, fear, and anxiety, always worried about the eventual return of their actions, even if they outwardly seem to succeed or prosper. One of the more profound aspects of karma is its ability to encourage personal growth and reflection. By understanding the law of karma, we are given an opportunity to reflect on our past actions and make amends where necessary. The awareness that our actions have consequences can inspire us to lead lives that are more compassionate, empathetic, and considerate. Karma encourages us to think twice before we act, to consider how our decisions affect others, and to realize that the energy we put into the world can have far-reaching effects that we may not fully understand. It is a reminder that we are not isolated beings, but part of a greater interconnected web of humanity. In some ways, karma serves as a spiritual guide, pushing us to make choices that align with our higher selves, encouraging us to act with kindness, integrity, and humility. When we understand the consequences of our actions, it becomes easier to forgive others for their mistakes, recognizing that we all are subject to the law of cause and effect. Rather than focusing on retribution or revenge, we can focus on creating positive actions, knowing that in time they will return to us in ways that will benefit our lives and the lives of those around us. Ultimately, karma teaches us that every action, thought, and intention is a thread in the fabric of our lives, and the consequences of those threads, whether good or bad, are woven into the patterns that shape our future. The emotional cost of losing respect can be one of the most profound and painful experiences in a person's life. Respect is not just a simple acknowledgement of someone's worth, but rather the foundation of any healthy relationship, whether personal, professional, or social. It is the invisible thread that holds connections together, creating a space where trust, admiration, and mutual understanding can flourish. When that respect is lost, whether through betrayal, dishonesty, or failure to meet expectations, it can lead to a deep sense of emotional hurt that is difficult to navigate. When respect is lost, it is not just the external relationship that suffers, but the internal emotional state of the individual as well. A person who feels disrespected often experiences a sense of rejection or devaluation. The sting of disrespect can erode self-esteem, making the individual question their worth, their actions, and their place in the relationship. Unlike other forms of emotional pain, the loss of respect strikes at the heart of a person's identity. It's not just about what someone has done to you, it's about how their actions make you feel about yourself. Disrespect feels like a denial of your value, as though you are no longer worthy of the regard or admiration you once had. This loss can leave someone feeling invisible, unimportant, and emotionally raw. The emotional cost of lost respect can also have a lasting effect on how we approach future relationships. The scars left by disrespect often make us wary of trusting others, especially when it comes to being vulnerable or allowing ourselves to be open and genuine. We might become overly cautious, holding people at arm's length because we fear that the same hurt might happen again. This guardedness can prevent us from forming new connections or experiencing the richness of deep relationships, leaving us feeling isolated and emotionally closed off. We may struggle to give others the benefit of the doubt, projecting our past pain onto new people in our lives, even when they have done nothing to deserve it. Furthermore, the loss of respect can lead to a sense of emotional depletion. Trying to maintain a relationship in which respect is no longer present can feel like an exhausting, one-sided effort. The individual who has lost respect may constantly find themselves questioning whether the relationship is worth salvaging, whether the effort to rebuild trust and honor is worth the emotional cost. At some point, the emotional energy required to sustain a relationship devoid of respect can become too much. The person may decide to distance themselves entirely, not because they no longer care, but because they can no longer afford to sacrifice their own well-being to someone who does not value them. Ultimately, the emotional cost of losing respect is not just about the relationship with the person who disrespected us, but the relationship we have with ourselves. The internal conflict, the questioning of self-worth, the self-doubt, all these are the unseen consequences of lost respect. It is an emotional toll that seeps into every corner of our lives, affecting our interactions with others and our ability to fully trust, love, and engage. To regain respect, whether from others or from ourselves, requires deep healing time and a commitment to rebuilding one's sense of dignity, but it is a painful process that demands both courage and resilience. The ripple effect of betrayal is far-reaching, extending well beyond the immediate individuals involved. When trust is broken, when someone is deceived or hurt, the impact does not remain contained within a single event or relationship. Instead, it sends shockwaves through the emotional, psychological, and even social fabric of a person's life, creating a ripple effect that can affect everything from personal self-worth to future relationships in the broader community. Betrayal is not just an isolated incident, it reverberates outward in ways that can alter the course of someone's life and the lives of those around them. The ripple effect of betrayal also extends to those who are closest to the betrayed individual. Friends, family members, and loved ones are often unintentionally caught up in the aftermath. They may feel torn between loyalty to the person who has been wronged and their relationships with the person who has committed the betrayal. In some cases, the betrayal can create divisions within a social group or family as individuals take sides or feel compelled to intervene. This disruption can have lasting consequences on the dynamics of the group, leading to feelings of awkwardness, resentment, or even alienation. People who were once close may find themselves distant or disconnected, unsure of how to navigate the complexities of the situation. The emotional scars of betrayal often go deeper than the initial moment of hurt. Over time, the betrayed person may experience a range of complex emotions, including anger, sadness, and even guilt. They may begin to question their own actions, wondering if they somehow contributed to the betrayal or if they missed signs of deceit. These emotions can lead to self-doubt and a diminished sense of self-worth as the individual struggles to reconcile the person they once trusted with the hurt they have experienced. This internal turmoil can erode a person's confidence and make them feel as though they are somehow broken or unworthy of love and respect. These feelings can also seep into every aspect of their life, from their work to their friendships to their overall well-being. Betrayal, particularly in a close relationship, often forces the betrayed person to confront difficult truths about themselves and their expectations of others. They may question the very nature of trust, and the lines between love, loyalty, and respect may become blurred. The question of why the betrayal occurred can lead to feelings of confusion and despair as they try to make sense of what happened and why someone they trusted chose to hurt them. This process of emotional reckoning can take a long time, sometimes years, and can lead to personal growth, but it often comes with great pain and hardship. The person who has been betrayed may need to relearn how to trust, how to set boundaries, and how to protect their heart from future hurt. In addition to the emotional ripple effect, there is often a psychological impact that lingers long after the betrayal has occurred. The betrayed individual may suffer from anxiety, depression, or even post-traumatic stress. The experience of betrayal can shatter a person's sense of safety and security, making them feel vulnerable and exposed. The fear of being hurt again can lead to a heightened state of alertness, where the individual constantly anticipates another betrayal. This emotional and psychological state can lead to difficulties in maintaining a sense of balance in life. The person may struggle to focus, to feel grounded, or to enjoy life in the same way they did before the betrayal. The ripple effect can also reach the betrayer, although this is not always immediately evident. While the person who has been betrayed experiences the pain of broken trust, the one who committed the betrayal may also face emotional consequences, even if they do not show it outwardly. The act of betrayal can leave the betrayer with feelings of guilt, shame, and regret. In some cases, the betrayer may try to rationalize or justify their actions, but deep down they may be haunted by the knowledge that they have caused harm to someone they once cared about. This emotional burden can weigh heavily on the betrayer, leading them to question their own integrity and values. They may struggle with feelings of remorse or remorseful anger, especially if the betrayal causes them to lose something important, whether it is the relationship itself or the respect and trust of others. The journey of overcoming betrayal begins with the recognition that healing is possible. At first, it may feel as though the pain will never subside, but over time we come to understand that this pain is a temporary state, not a permanent one. It is the acknowledgement that, though we may have been hurt deeply, we are not defined by the hurt. We have the power to shape our own story, to reclaim control over our emotions, and to heal from the wounds that have been inflicted upon us. This realization, while difficult to grasp in the early moments of betrayal, marks the beginning of the path towards strength. As we navigate through the pain, we also begin to rebuild the foundation of our self-worth. Betrayal can often leave us questioning our own judgment, our ability to trust others, and even our value as individuals. The strength to overcome betrayal involves reasserting our sense of self, recognizing that the actions of others do not diminish who we are or what we are capable of. Our worth is not dependent on the loyalty of others, it is intrinsic to our being. Reclaiming this self-respect and self-love is an essential part of healing. By shifting our focus from the betrayal to our own personal growth, we begin to restore our emotional equilibrium and understand that we are more than the sum of our painful experiences. Part of the strength to overcome betrayal is rooted in forgiveness, though it is important to understand that forgiveness is not about excusing or condoning the actions of the person who hurt us. Forgiveness is about freeing ourselves from the hold that anger and resentment have on us. When we forgive, we do not necessarily release the other person from the consequences of their actions, but we do release ourselves from the constant emotional burden that holding on to bitterness can create. Forgiveness is a form of self-care, a way to protect our own emotional well-being by choosing not to let the betrayal control our thoughts and feelings any longer. It is a decision to move forward, not for the sake of the one who betrayed us, but for our own peace of mind. The strength to overcome betrayal also lies in the capacity to learn from the experience. While the pain may never fully disappear, we gain wisdom from the process of healing. We learn more about ourselves, about our values, our boundaries, and our capacity for resilience. Betrayal forces us to reevaluate our relationships, our priorities, and our expectations. It helps us identify the types of people we want in our lives and those we must keep at a distance. Through this reflection, we become better equipped to navigate future challenges, knowing that we are stronger, more discerning, and more aware of the complexities of human relationships. The call for accountability and healing is not just a plea for justice, but a deep invitation to transformation. When we are betrayed, we often feel an overwhelming sense of injustice. We wonder how someone could hurt us so deeply, and we seek some form of recompense, some way to restore what has been lost. But true accountability is not just about pointing fingers or demanding retribution. It is about recognizing the deeper responsibility we all share for our actions and their consequences. It is about understanding that the harm caused by betrayal goes beyond the person wronged. It affects everyone involved, and everyone has a role to play in the process of healing. Healing cannot begin until accountability is in place. The two are intrinsically linked because without accountability, there can be no true recognition of the harm done. And without recognition, there can be no path to recovery. Healing starts when the person who has been betrayed feels heard, validated, and respected in their experience. It requires an acknowledgement of the emotional toll the betrayal has taken and the commitment to making amends, not just through words, but through actions that demonstrate a genuine desire to rebuild trust. Accountability in this way is an essential first step toward healing, as it sets the stage for rebuilding the emotional foundation that was shattered. But healing is not something that can be imposed. It cannot be forced onto the betrayed person, nor can it be rushed. It is a gradual personal process that requires time, patience, and understanding. It is about creating space for both individuals to process the emotions that have arisen from the betrayal and to figure out whether and how they can move forward together or separately. Healing does not always mean that the relationship will be restored to what it once was, but it does mean that both individuals have the opportunity to grow, to learn, and to move toward a place of peace. A call for accountability and healing also extends to the broader community because betrayal does not exist in a vacuum. It affects not just the individuals directly involved, but also the networks and systems that surround them. The way we approach betrayal as a society reflects our values around trust, forgiveness, and justice. A culture that fosters accountability is one where people are encouraged to take responsibility for their actions, where there is an understanding that harm caused must be acknowledged and addressed, and where there is a commitment to healing, not just retribution. When accountability and healing are prioritized, we create a more compassionate environment where relationships can flourish, where trust can be rebuilt, and where emotional well-being is valued. In the end, the call for accountability and healing is not just about resolving a single act of betrayal. It is about creating a culture where we acknowledge the harm done, take responsibility for it, and seek to make amends in a way that fosters genuine reconciliation and growth. It is about moving beyond the pain of betrayal and toward a future where we can all live with greater integrity, empathy, and understanding. By embracing both accountability and healing, we pave the way for a future where betrayal no longer has the power to permanently scar us, but instead becomes a catalyst for personal transformation, relational growth, and collective healing.